Welcome to the 2020 Nissan Kicks SR. This is Nissan's new compact small crossover. Let's take you on a little walk around this new Kicks. I'll show you what it's like inside and out. There's an impressive amount of interior space in this Kicks, especially in the trunk. This is a front-wheel drive only compact crossover. No all-wheel drive option, but you do get that added benefit of more space in the back because of that. It's powered by a 1.6-liter four-cylinder engine, mated to a CVT, makes 122 horsepower. Get some pretty impressive fuel economy numbers. This is rated for 33 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle, 31 in the city, 36 on the highway. And the interior seems like it's kind of along the same design language as the new Nissan Sentra, which is a good thing because it's a nice quality interior. You have pretty cool leather-like seats, and you even get this Bose audio system, which is an additional upgrade, but you can get headrest speakers, which is kind of cool for that added surround effect. This is a pretty heavily loaded Nissan Kicks at about 26 grand, but really I wouldn't expect to pay more than $21,000, $22,000, $23,000 for one of these things. Base price on this is about 21 grand. So as you can see, this has the black 17-inch alloy wheels, the multi-tone paint. I think they just call this the two-tone paint because this is just a black piece. Also has the roof rails, which are surprisingly quiet on the highway. You'd barely notice that they're there. It says right here on the sticker that they have a 100-pound weight limit. Interesting looking car. I'm not sure I'm crazy about the design. The Juke seemed to be a little bit more endearingly ugly than this, but this isn't necessarily a replacement for the Juke. Overall, it's a nice compact size. It's a great little city car. It's affordable, it's cheap on gas. It has a nice amount of headroom. This is a good entry into the crossover market if that's what you want and need. Seated behind myself at 5'10", I've got plenty of leg room here. Lots of headroom as well. Pretty nice space to be in. Back here's what impressed me the most. There's a lot of cargo space back here and such a low loading height too. You do even get a very tiny little compact spare. Quite nicely packaged there. And this Nissan Kicks even has this chrome exhaust tip, which is an option listed on the Monroney. There you go. I do like this color combination. Adds a little bit of flair. You get this kind of smoked chrome grille surround. Otherwise though, that's the Nissan Kicks. I honestly haven't seen a lot of these on the road, so I'm not too familiar with them. But I have spent a few days in this one, and overall it's a nice driver for the price. They have skimped on some things. You get disc front brakes and drum rear brakes. There's no radar guided cruise control or anything like that, but you do get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors, and a suite of safety features like forward collision alert, rear cross traffic alert, automatic rear braking, stuff like that. All right, let's take this thing for a drive, and we'll show you guys what it's like on the road. A nice reverse camera. They even give you a 360 view camera. You can see there are cameras in the mirrors there. Because of its compact dimensions, we get a nice turning radius. will say, like most Nissans, there is a lot of refinement to their new CVTs. This is no exception. I think the fact that this is a smaller, lighter weight vehicle helps that, and that this is maybe a little bit more suited to the CVT than some other bigger, heavier options. It's a pretty smooth powertrain. There's not a lot going on at low speeds. It picks up quickly. You don't feel like you're stressing the car until really you're merging onto the highway and getting up to higher speeds. Ride quality is decent. It's kind of on the firmer side, but that said, this doesn't have a lot of suspension travel. It's not like this is your off-roading tiny crossover like a Subaru Crosstrek or the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. You can definitely feel the lighter weight in this car, and as a result, it's kind of fun to chuck around the city. You definitely get a little bit of CVT whir when you're flooring it, but honestly, you don't really need to drive this thing hard to get much acceleration out of it. Around the city, you're just putzing around, and it's perfectly comfortable. It's actually pretty nimble. Over bumped, so there's not a lot of cabin intrusion. It's really quite nicely damped. Pretty good handling. Steering feel isn't bad. It communicates at the limit. Not that anyone who buys a Nissan Kicks is going to be driving it like this. I have really good forward visibility. There is a pretty big blind spot in your rear quarter panel, but you do get blind spot monitoring to kind of compensate for that. And even at 70 miles an hour, there's not a lot of wind noise or road noise. It's pretty quiet in here. I'm impressed. This is kind of a newer generation for Nissan, and I like what they're doing. They're putting together some really nice quality, inexpensive vehicles. I'm not sure I prefer this over the new Sentra, but if you want a crossover, this definitely isn't a bad option. It has a little bit of a fun to drive factor, which is nice. And if you don't mind the looks, it's kind of a funky little thing. Definitely, I don't think it has the cool factor of the Nissan Juke. But it still has that nimbleness and lightweight agility. All your inputs have good feel. The steering is weighted nicely. The brake pedal is progressive. Despite this having rear drum brakes, it's a pretty good amount of braking force. There are some weird little judders and the occasional misstep from the CVT, but for the most part, if you're driving it smoothly, it's pretty in the background and you don't notice it. Let's do a quick sound system test here. Test this Bose audio. Not a bad sound system. Definitely better than a lot of options in the class. It is an additional extra, but if you do appreciate nice audio quality, it might be worth swinging for. I do like the ergonomics in this car. Everything has a knob, a button. It's simple. It's easily laid out to use. Jump in this car and be pretty familiar with everything almost immediately. And after driving pretty much the entire Nissan lineup this year, that's been really nice to experience in pretty much all of their vehicles. Alright guys, so here you go. New Nissan Kicks. No major drawbacks or shortfalls. I think ultimately, this is just a nice little cheap compact crossover. Gets great fuel economy. It's going to be cheap to run, cheap to own. Has some nice options, but overall, you're not going to be paying a lot of money for one of these. And I've seen used examples, 2019s, with not a lot of miles on them for about 14, 15 grand. New cars seem to be around 20, 21, 22. And yeah, pretty good overall package. I would say that I definitely prefer the new Nissan Sentra. It has better driving dynamics, maybe a little bit better overall feel and interior quality. You do also get radar guided cruise control, stuff like that. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit higher off the ground, more spacious, this is a pretty good option. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.